guest is a Tony and Emmy-nominated writer, producer, and comedian whose work you know from Saturday Night Live, Billy Madison, The Wedding Singer, and The Waterboy. He's the co-writer of Happy Gilmore 2, which is streaming now on Netflix. Let's take a look.
You were arrested for inciting injury to persons or property, conspiracy to commit vehicular manslaughter, criminal menacing, and stealing a jacket. At trial, you were found not guilty by reason of insanity and remanded to this facility. That was 29 years ago.
Feels like yesterday.
29 years is a long time, Mr. McGavin, and so this board is inclined to grant you your release. If we were to do so, what then?
Please welcome to the show our friend Tim Hurley, everybody.
Great, how are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm so happy to have you here. We just missed each other at SNL, but I knew your name, I knew your reputation. I also knew you had a very unique story as to how you got into comedy, which began at NYU freshman year when you were assigned your roommate, who was...
Well, it was another guy, but it was also Adam Sandler.
All right.
Yes.
So that's a pretty good first roommate to have at NYU.
Yeah, it was, that's basically the whole story. My college roommate was...
But you were not, were not trying to be a comedian. You went to NYU, you met Sandler, and then you went to law school, and you were actually a practicing attorney when Adam got hired at SNL.
Yes. Yeah.
And one would think you would just be a lawyer who was proud of your friend, but somehow Adam sort of pulled you in, yes?
Well, yeah, I mean, I was proud of him. I mean, he wasn't getting on that much at the time, but, you know, I still was proud of him. He was trying hard. Yeah, it was just, I helped him with some sketches. I'd always helped him with the stand-up, just on a very, like a hobby. Like
sure, of course.
Playing racquetball or something, just like a fun thing to do. Instead of being a lawyer. So he got me a tryout on the show.
He got you a tryout, but like, what was some of the ideas that before you were an actual staffed writer on the show, what were some of the ideas that you worked on with Adam?
Well, my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, she lived in Queens, and her neighbor, the nickname for him was Canteen Boy.
Okay, there you go.
And he wore a canteen and walked around the neighborhood in Queens and, made sure everything was okay with the neighborhood. And so we
So you created a Canteen Boy. There's Alec Baldwin, and Adam is Canteen Boy. Canteen Boy was pretty risque for the time, and also this time, and also at all time.
Well, it started very wholesome. He was just in the Scouts too long and just trying to keep the neighborhood. And then it was really Scoutmaster Armstrong that kind of took things to the next level.
Why are we blaming Canteen Boy?
Yes.
You also have an incredible connection with the show even today, which is your son Martin is one of the members of Please Don't Destroy. So that must be incredible.
Yeah.
I'm such a fan of their work, and I would imagine, one, you're so proud, and also you're in a unique position to give your son advice.
Yeah, kind of, because it's, I left the show 26 years ago.
Yeah.
And normally if you quit a job and then, your son gets the same job 26 years later, it's, there's not much you can say, but nothing has changed there. So I can really say, well, talk to this guy or that guy, it's the same people doing the same things.
I was happy to see Martin was in Happy Gilmore 2. So was your daughter.
Yes.
And we have clips of both their lines. Now, Martin has a pretty big scene.
Yes.
Your daughter has one smaller part.
Yeah.
Were you happy with the lines you managed to give them?
Yes, I think it really reflects who they are as people and got to get their personality out.
Okay, great. Well, we've got a supercut of their two lines.
Happy Gilmore.
It's really nice. It's really nice. You gave them something in their voices.
The grandparents are ecstatic.
Yes.
Yes. For sure.
We saw you obviously in the clip as well. So you have been in a great many of the films that you've helped Adam write.
Yes.
And what are you looking for when you're trying to write a part for yourself in one of these movies?
Well, I don't want it to be that good, because if
Okay.
it's good, they'll give it to a real actor.
Gotcha.
So I always end
So
up
you
giving
try-
myself lines, and then
Yeah, if you write too many lines, they're like, oh, we have a big name.
yeah,
Who-
Buscemi wants to do it.
Right,
Yeah,
right, right.
So I try and keep it.
Gotcha. You've learned over the years that there's value to putting yourself in a movie like this.
True. Yes. Well, at SNL, and I'm sure you know this better than anybody.
Yeah.
There's this thing called ASCAP, which is I'm not sure what it is. That's kind of a union,
Like a
but
songwriters
Songwriters Guild
Yeah.
collective.
Yeah.
And what they do is, if you write a song, any part of a song, they give you royalties and residuals that just sort of come. So I actually wrote the theme song for Brian Fellow,
Right.
the Safari Planet, and I still get like a $25 check every time they show a clip of Brian Fellow.
Yeah.
And
you also played a kangaroo. You sang a song.
yeah, well, that was my attempt to.
Right.
I thought originally in the movie Big Daddy, it's a cassette that the kid listens to.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, if I not only write this song but perform the song, I get double royalties.
Wow.
So I thought I'd be getting $40.
Yeah.
So I was, but then they decided to make it a videotape rather than, so I had to perform to portray the singing kangaroo.
Now, one of the things about it, I've been in this situation as well. It really is funny in this day and age to get, sometimes you'll get like a $7 check. And they will offer to just do direct deposit. They're like, just give us the bank account. You have said no to that.
No, I mean, what's the fun of that?
Yeah.
Like
You want to get a $20 check for a song you wrote 20 years ago.
yes.
Yeah.
And as happy as a clam when I get those.
I respect that. 29 years until a sequel. That's rare. Have you thought about other potential sequels now that you know you can have a great amount of time between the two?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, it's not coming up now, It would be fun to do, just to hang out with, like, Kathy Bates and Henry Winkler again if we did The Water Boy, like,
Yeah.
just to bring the gang back and do that, like, but...
You've gotten to meet so many actors because, of course, I think one of the things about the warmth that Adam creates is everybody wants to come in and be a part of his world. He did a movie with Jack Nicholson, and you got to go to Jack Nicholson's house to like work on a script. What's it like? I would imagine when you get to work with a legend like Jack Nicholson, you're just sort of like hanging on every word.
Well, I fell asleep.
Okay.
But you got to understand, like, I was exhausted because I was also working on a sitcom with Norm Macdonald and John Lovitz.
Okay,
which
great.
never saw the light of day, but it was, it
Yep.
was kind of burning the candle at both ends. So I go to Jack's house, and Jack keeps the lights real low at his house.
Okay, gotcha.
Like, very, and I'm exhausted. And Jack, the impression of Jack is like, hey, how you doing? Like, but he doesn't talk like that. His voice is very soothing and very mellow, like, well, on page 37. And, and I was just kind of there. And then, when you're falling asleep and you're just like, kind of like, I can't fight it anymore. I'm going.
Yeah.
And I just kind of, and I just 20 minutes I was asleep. And I told Sandler, in the car leaving, and he said, you were asleep? And yeah, did I miss anything? A few things. I was taking notes.
I love that you had a chance to hang out with Jack Nicholson and you dozed off.
Yeah, well, I won the whole meeting.
Not the whole meeting. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll respect that. You did. We have a thing called Second Chance Theater here, where we
Yes.
do sketches that did not see the light of the day at SNL. You did write a follow-up to Canteen Boy and
Yes.
Alec Baldwin, and the network was a hard no.
Yeah, when I think it was the Christmas show, right before
Okay.
Christmas. We did Canteen Boy and Scoutmaster Armstrong's Christmas reunion.
Yeah.
And Scoutmaster Armstrong, played by Alec Baldwin, attempted to take liberties while dressed as Santa Claus with the Canteen Boy once again.
Yeah.
He had been rebuffed and attacked by snakes in the first one when they were camping. But we were actually brought into Lauren's office to talk about it on Wednesday night after read-through. And the censor was a guy named Andrew Brewer, who was
Yeah,
a very
wonderful guy.
Wonderful guy, very even-tempered.
Yes.
He ran into the room and he said, "No way, man. No way."
And he was a fair man. Andrew was a fair man.
Yes.
So if you said that, you were like, I think
Yeah.
we're going to have to let it go.
Even Lauren was like,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
can't do this.
What a delight to have you here. Congrats
thanks
on
for
the
having me,
film.
man.
I loved it. It was so happy and wonderful to see you all together again.
Thanks, pal.
I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Tim Hurley, everybody. Happy Gilmore 2 is streaming now on Netflix. We'll be right back with Chase We Wonder.